Tilea's Troubles, Part 91. A tent in the middle of a war. Somewhere in the realm of Trantio, at the end of autumn, 2403. Lord Alessio was glad he was alone. The flash of fury that had just driven him to thrust his knife into the table was not something he would wish his servants and officers to see. He had a reputation for calm self-control to maintain. Still, he thought, he need not reproach himself for his impetuousness, for the news he had received would drive even the most meditative of monks to distraction. If his weakness was nothing more than the mere momentary desire to stick a knife into a map, then it truly paled into insignificance when compared to the weakness of the man whose actions had instigated his anger, Duke Guidobaldo of Pavona. As the anger subsided, which he quickly did, he looked at the knife and chuckled. It had struck the map exactly where he had intended, obliterating the inked name of Pavona in the process. Movement at the entrance of the tent caught his eye, and he looked up to see Lord Black leaning into the tent. "My lord," said his visitor, "may I?" Alessio gestured to his friend to enter. As Lord Black strode in, he looked at the knife. "I see you've heard the news," he said, apparently understanding immediately what had just happened. "It never rains but it pours, eh? First the Sartosans, sappers of the Lucinans, and now the soldiers of the VMC have become distracted by a sudden need to make war against Pavona." "We are attempting to fight a war to save all of Tilea, Ned," said Alessio. "Against the enemy of life itself. And what does every other Tilean ruler do to help?" "They set about attacking each other." "Of course. What else?" Ned leaned upon his scabbarded sword and looked at the map. "Well, at least they're all willing to fight," he said. Alessio gave a pained chuckle. "So, what do we do?" asked Ned. Alessio pondered a moment, then spoke. "As I see it, we have three options. We could march to Pavona in an attempt to convince the VMC not to sack the city, and deal with the Duke later." "So you don't believe his claim that the VMC murdered Lord Lucia?" Alessio just rolled his eyes, then continued. "Or we could leave them both to their misery and return home. Whichever squabbling fools survive would then have to face the Duchess themselves." "Aye, and if they lose their battle for want of sufficient strength, we will be forced to fight their walking corpses later, after the Duchess makes them her own." "Which leads me to the third option," said Alessio. "We can press on regardless, with just the forces we have at our disposal. Try our luck against the Duchess, despite our lack of allies." "Several have tried that before, without success. Do you think the army the Duchess commands is as strong as that we defeated at Norocchia?" "Considering she wiped out an entire horde of fanatical Morites at Rubino, she cannot lack in strength. I had thought of sending word to the mountain dwarves and the Compagnia del Sole to request that they dispatch a force to join us, but I strongly suspect they're still too distracted by the recapture of Campagrotta and the need to deal with the brutes remaining in Ravola." "We might have struggled to feed them anyway," said Lord Black. "Well, now that Verezzo has been so grievously wounded, we can hardly expect their payments to continue, which makes feeding what we already have more difficult. I like and respect Lord Silvano, as you know, but his father has picked a terrible time to pull one of his bloody tricks." "One would hope, my lord, that the VMC has been here long enough to learn that revenge is a dish best served cold." Lord Alessio merely rolled his eyes at the suggestion. "Can we not cut spending at home for a while?" asked Ned. "Do we need a new harbour right now? Cannot Hakim wait a little longer for his magical lighthouse to be completed? And, in light of the threat, even the Revernans might be willing to show patience over the pace of the works in their realm." "We could save gold that way, yes," agreed Alessio. "But if the Sartosans move north, then that gold will still be needed at home." "So, what do we do?" asked Ned again. Alessio looked at the map and sighed. "Whatever is best," he said.